Gut, dann sprechen wir doch mal mit Angela Maxwell. Nicht Merkel, Maxwell.
Could I ask you about some things, Miss Maxwell?
Certainly, darling.
So. Egal. Club der Geisterkundler, Entführung, Linda Walker über sie selbst, Gespräch beenden.
What can you tell me about the Spectre Society?
Where to begin? I formed this club 2 years ago, right after I moved to New Britannia. During our meetings, we discuss our experiences with paranormal phenomena and organize investigations.
What sort of investigations?
We look into places all around the city which have been reported as haunted. New Britannia is teeming with the spirits of those killed during the French and British takeovers of the city. Not only that, but there is a prevalence of mystic religious practices here in Gascon, brought over by immigrants from the Antilles.
Fascinating.
There are plenty of books on the subject over there in the bookcase, if you're interested in learning more.
Das hatte ich auch tatsächlich. Okay.
What made you decide to start up this club?
I began communing with the spirits at a very early age. My twin sister, Rachel, died after falling into an icy pond when we were 8 years old.
I'm very sorry, Miss Maxwell.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
I appreciate your sympathy, darling, but don't feel too bad. Rachel began speaking to me shortly after that. She has served as my spirit guide ever since.
Spirit guide? You mean you still speak with her?
Oh, yes. Every day. In fact, I was just speaking with her before you arrived. As I grew older, I realized there were others in the world who were also able to communicate with spirits, and those who had an interest in what lies beyond the ether. And so, once I moved to New Britannia, I decided to start up this club so we could gather and share our experiences.
Do you suppose she can hear what I'm saying? Hey, Angela, try a bit less eyeshadow, would you? You look like a purple raccoon. Nothing. Clearly a fraud. Ah, well.
Schade eigentlich.
I was wondering,
Yes?
when you communicate with the spirits, are you able to stop?
If I wish them to leave me, yes. I bid them farewell, and they usually depart back into the ether.
What about the more persistent ones?
You do remember I'm right here, don't you?
Well, just between you and me. Those spirits are best dealt with by having the other kind of spirits. Quiets them right down.
I prefer soporific myself.
Oh? You hear the voices of the spirits as well, Mr. Fordham. But of course, now the reason for your visit to the Spectre Society is obvious. Do you see? All our paths eventually become clear. I'm glad yours has brought you here.
Oh, wonderful. Now she started rhyming. Don't get any funny ideas about telling her about me. She may be a lunatic, but that's no reason to expose yourself as one too.
Wollen wir von Bill erzählen? Oder nicht? Es kann sein, dass ich es bereuen werde.
I don't hear the voices of all spirits, just one.
Miles, what are you doing?
Ah, you have a spirit guide. Please, tell me more, darling.
I wouldn't call him a spirit guide so much as a spirit nag.
This is a very, very bad idea.
Do you know who this spirit is?
Yes, it's my former detective partner, Bill. He died on our last case together because of me.
What happened?
He was on a roof being held at knife point by a burglar. Bill wanted me to shoot, but they were too close. I couldn't risk it. There was a struggle. Bill lost his footing and fell to his death.
Oh my, you poor darling. Is he angry with you?
Well, he is now. He doesn't think it's a good idea to tell others about him. But normally, he's the same as he was in life. He just wants me to find the man responsible for his death. I've told him I'm really the one responsible, but he insists it's the burglar.
I see. This is quite the unfortunate situation. My advice to you is this. Spirits often know best. You do well to listen to him about keeping his presence to yourself. Not everyone is as open-minded as we members of the Spectre Society.
Maybe I misjudged her.
Ha!
I know.
Aber ich habe
It's
sie
been hard
richtig
keeping
eingeschätzt,
this
du
from my
Arsch.
wife, but I can't drive her away. She's all I've really got left.
Your story has touched me, Mr. Fordham. I will do everything I can to help you and your spirit guide find peace.
Yeah.
If I find anything out which might help you, I will contact you personally.
Thank you, Miss Maxwell. I appreciate it.
Well, that could have turned out much worse. I'm warning you, Miles. Tell anyone else about me, and I won't be so forgiving.
Okay, das habe ich also richtig eingeschätzt. Ich bin beruhigt.
Thank you for
Okay.
the information. It was very enlightening.
It was my pleasure, darling.
Could I ask you?
Sir,
So.
I spoke with Henrietta Davis, and she mentioned one of your other members, Linda Walker. Can you tell me anything about her?
ah, Linda, poor dear. Of all our members, she is the one I feel for the most.
Why is that?
She's had a tragic life, but I believe the Spectre Society has helped her greatly. Not only has she made a good friend in Henrietta, she's also dealt with her grief in a positive way. She has devoured my collection of books, educated herself on many subjects. I would say she's become an expert on clairvoyance and metempsychosis. It's always nice to know that the club can help those who have suffered.
Do you see her often?
Yes, she comes by about once or twice a week.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what was it you said? Madam Psy, what?
Metempsychosis, darling.
Das ist so ein
It's a
Buch, drüber
philosophical
gelesen.
term which comes from ancient Greece. It refers to the transmigration of the soul after death.
Is that anything like reincarnation?
Essentially, yes. There's a book on the subject over in the bookcase, which can tell you far more than I possibly could.
Ja, haben wir ja gerade eben schon. Genau.
What can you tell me about Linda and Henrietta's friendship?
It's so lovely to see them together at the meetings. They're practically inseparable. It's quite sweet. They often leave messages for each other in the guest book. When Linda found out that Henrietta was taking care of an infant, she even gave her a toy bear for the child. I remember Linda lighting up with excitement when she asked about him. She really loves children. It's such a terrible shame about... But please, let's discuss something more pleasant, shall we, darling?
What's this tragic story about Linda you mentioned?
Oh, dear. I probably shouldn't say.
Miss Maxwell, I'm going to be frank. I'm investigating a kidnapping, and Mrs. Walker is a person of interest. I need to know as much about her as possible to help me solve this case. Do I make myself clear?
Well, if it will help, Linda was married to a man named Thomas. Together, they had a son named Alexander. Thomas revealed himself to be a terribly cruel man. When he gave himself over to the drink, he would fly into rages and beat both Linda and the boy. One day, she came home to find both her son and husband dead.
My God, what happened?
The police ruled it a murder-suicide. Poisoning, apparently. Linda has been trying to make contact with Alexander's spirit for the past year or so, but has had no luck. It really is a terrible tragedy.
Wow, ja. Das kann man wohl sagen.
Do you know Linda Walker's address?
I'm afraid not, darling. Linda has always been somewhat private, and that's not something I consider to be crucial information.
Do you know any way I can find her?
You could always come back for our next meeting. It will be the first Thursday of next month.
By then, we'll have completely lost track of Charles. There has to be another way of finding Linda.
Thank you for the information. It was very enlightening.
It was my pleasure, darling.
Ich weiß nicht, ob wir sie zu der Entführung nochmal fragen sollten. Aber im Gästebuch
There's quite a few members in this group.
steht Linda. Looking forward to having you over at the manor next week. Come around 8 p.m. and you can meet Charlie. Das ist vom 19. Ne, vom 19. Treffen. Okay. Sollten wir uns merken. Die Dame kommt vorbei.
I'll be going now.
May the spirits guide you to that which you seek.
Ja, danke, ne? Heieieiei, das ist alles schon ziemlich... Ah, Manometer. Okay, gehen wir erstmal zum Baugelände, bevor wir mit der Mrs. Davis nochmal reden. Uiuiuiui, was ist denn hier los?
And so we say to Harris and his cronies, no, we will not stand for this. Too many have died to allow this to continue. Steam tech must be stopped. The time has come to reject steam machines. They take our jobs, they take our families, they take our lives. We won't stand for this injustice any longer.
Well, someone certainly wasn't shy about making their opinion known. Rich people really do like making others aware of what's theirs, don't they?
Okay, ja, einige
Todd
Demonstranten.
Harris has
Ja,
no concern for the people who died aboard the Lygia or their families. The only thing that matters to him is lining his pockets with the misery of others. To this we say no!
Now that is an impressive piece of machinery. I suddenly remembered a joke. What's the difference between the HMS Lenore and Chief Snelling? One is a greatly disliked and untrustworthy sack of hot air, and the other is the HMS Lenore.
ja.
Pardon me, are you Arthur Devons by any chance?
Yes? Who are you?
Ich dachte, keiner berührt mir so ins
Miles Fordham,
Gesicht wieder.
Private investigator. Could I ask you a few questions?
Guess so, yeah.
Oh, das ist ja mal ein schnicker Bursche. Der könnte... Ah, der erinnert mich an... Na, ich denke, ich hingucke nicht, aber auf den ersten Blick hat er mich ein bisschen an den einen Typen aus Snatch erinnert. Der von Brad Pitt gespielt wird. Egal, was haben wir denn hier?
Why are you out here protesting?
Because what Harris Construction is doing ain't right. I lost my wife in the Lygia crash, and I'm not the only one, neither. Hundreds of people were affected by that disaster, and now these bastards are making another airship. It's like a slap in the face to everyone who died. I just can't understand it.
What do you hope to accomplish by protesting?
Simple. We want construction of the Lenore stopped, and a full investigation into the Lygia disaster. Not only that, we want compensation for our losses. Royal Maverick took care of all the families of those on board, but the families of the ones in the park didn't get a single copper. It just isn't fair. We aim to make things right. After that, it'll just be a matter of time before people realize that there's no future in steam tech, and they'll call the whole thing off.
Ah, the innocence of the downtrodden. I wish I could be as naive as them. It would have made my life a lot easier.
You must have loved your wife very much.
Are you joking? I loved her more than there are stars in the sky. She was my whole world, Mr. Fordham, the light of my life. It's been nothing but cold and dark since she was killed. You're married, aren't you, Mr. Fordham? I see a ring on your finger.
I am, yes.
Then take my advice. Appreciate every moment you have with her. You never know when she'll be ripped out of your life, leaving you with nothing.
You know, this fellow was actually pretty wise. Maybe we misjudged him.
Die sind ja auch, wenn wildfremde Leute euch auf der Straße irgendwelche Lebensweisheiten um die Ohren schmeißen. Naja.
You recognize this letter, Mr. Devons?
How'd you get that? That wasn't meant for you.
I found it at the home of Mr. Malcolm Harris. He tells me you've been sending quite a few of these to his father.
Me and everyone else would had someone killed by that devil machine. I'm not the only one, you know.
Perhaps not, but he told me you were the most persistent.
Knochen und Staub?
Do you practice voodoo, Mr. Devons?
What the fuck?
What?
The chicken bones and dust you send along with your letters. It's a voodoo spell meant to cause bad luck in business. Quite a convenient solution, wouldn't you say?
I don't know what you're on about.
Come now, Mr. Devons. I'd appreciate it if you didn't think I was stupid.
All right, fine. I went to go see one of them magic women in Gascon. She told me about the spell and what I needed to do. I don't believe in the stuff, but I thought maybe if I used it, I could scare Harris enough to get him to stop making the new airship.
Well, I don't mean to be one to put a damper on your amateur witchcraft, but it doesn't seem to be doing you much good. Do you recognize this button?
Can't say I do, but it looks handmade. I wonder how long it will be before the poor soul who crafted that button gets booted into the street, replaced with some steam-belching contraption.
Does this piece of fabric look familiar to you?
Looks like it came from some fancy jacket, the type you'd expect to see on the snobs in Leon. I could never afford clothes like that in a million years.
Das ist richtig.
You seem very dedicated to your cause.
I'll take that as a compliment, Mr. Fordham.
There's quite a lot of people who are against steam tech, aren't there?
Yes, the movement is gaining ground and growing rapidly, I'm pleased to say.
I've heard stories about some more extreme members. Do you know anything about that?
You mean the Redites? Sure, I've heard of them. Even met a few. But if you think I'm telling you anything else beyond that, you're sorely mistaken.
Are you a member of the Redites, Mr. Devons?
No, I prefer more peaceful methods of making my voice heard. Now, if you don't mind, I think we should drop the subject.
Na gut.
What have you got against the Harris family?
Family? Don't know nothing about the family. The only one I got a problem with is Clyde Harris, the one who owns this yard. He's just like all those other rich bastards with their heads in the clouds. The man don't care about the dead. He just wants to make as much money as he can. I'm just trying to make him realize how wrong he is.
Do you know anything about the kidnapping of Charles Harris?
Charles Harris? Who's that?
Clyde Harris's grandson.
I didn't even know we had a grandson. I can't believe someone with a grandkid, a family, would want more flying death in the air. How many more people have to die before someone realizes that steam machines are evil? People will kill their own mams for a crown these days.
Good day to you, Mr. Devons.
You too, Mr. Fordham.
Ja, der Typ scheint relativ
We will not just stand by and watch another
unschuldig
bringer
zu
of
sein.
fiery death hover over us.
Ja. Okay, ich muss da mal. Tschüss, Leute, ne? Macht's gut, habt noch einen schönen Tag. Ihr habt's. Ihr schafft das. Ich glaub an euch. Okay, ab zum Quiz 4 von Mrs. Davis.
Hello again, Mr. Fordham. Did you hear? The Harrises got a note from the kidnapper.
I didn't hear. When was this?
Oh, not long ago. Within the hour. You should go see them about it.
Thank you, Mrs. Davis. I shall.
Aber was ist hier denn? Sie ist die ganze Zeit nur in diesem Sessel drin.
I have some questions for you, Mrs. Davis.
All right.
Ja, hallo.
Mrs. Davis, have you ever had Linda visit you at the Harris Manor?
Oh, no, of course not.
Then would you care to explain your note to her in the Spectre Society guest book?
Please, Mr. Fordham, I didn't mean to lie to you. It's just that it gets so lonely by myself in the house at night. So every now and then, I invite Linda to come over for tea and some company.
I see. And when was the last time this happened?
2 nights ago? Please don't tell Mr. and Mrs. Harris, Mr. Fordham. If they found out what I was doing, they'd have me dismissed without a reference.
I won't, but I'd very much like to speak with Mrs. Walker. Do you have any idea where I can find her?
All I know is that she works as a seamstress at a shop in Lyon, but I don't know the name. I'm sorry, I can't be of any more help than that.
Okay.
Thank you for your time, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Okay. Hätten wir das schon mal
I'll be going
geklärt?
now, Mrs. Davis.
May the spirit...
Ja, bla bla bla, was auch immer. Die Schneiderei ist uns nicht zugänglich. Ah, okay. Naja, vielleicht sollten wir erstmal ins Herrenhaus gehen, hä?
Oh, Mr. Fordham. Oh, thank God you're back.
What's going on?
Our butler just brought this in. He found it stuck to the gate outside.
Alice family, we have your son. If you ever want to see him again, you must stop bidding the new ship airship. We are not joking.
Shit. Das ist ja doof, ne? Okay, Moment. Können wir jetzt zur Schneiderei gehen? Nein, können wir nicht. Okay, das ist komisch. Okay.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, of course.
What is your opinion of this ransom note?
It's obvious who sent it, Mr. Fordham. Why are you wasting your time here? Go arrest Mr. Devons!
Those are all
right.
Mir gefällt das alles nicht. Okay, Leute, ich muss aber an dieser Stelle kurz mal unsere Aufnahme hier unterbrechen bzw. beenden. Wir sehen uns also in der nächsten Folge wieder. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Macht es also gut, habt noch einen schönen Tag und rätselt schön weiter mit. Bis dann, macht's gut und tüdelü und ciao, ciao.